Okay, let's try a little demo with PacketTracer. So the first thing on the machines in the classroom, and yours will be on C, mine I think is elsewhere. I don't think I have one on C, although I may have. I don't have a PacketTracer folder because I was running out of room on the C drive and I moved them over to the E drive, which has a lot more. I have a couple of PacketTracer, Cisco PacketTracer 5.3.2, 5. They keep changing them. We started out with PacketTracer 4, and now we're up into the 5s. PacketTracer, my commercial for Cisco, is a Cisco simulator that will simulate Cisco devices right down to the point that if you do a configuration file in PacketTracer and then export and import it into your Cisco device, it will work. So this thing actually works exceptionally well. When you want to start it, and let's try the 5.3, open the folder, and in the bin file, the binary file should be a PacketTracer.exe file. So double click on the PacketTracer.exe file will open the software. And I'm opening this one for the very first time, so it's going to ask me some questions. If you get that, since we're not really going to do anything very complicated in this class, I just will typically take the defaults in it. Make this bigger because I'm using this thing in, go to Skyline. Let's see if I can, I'm betting I'm timed out. Yep. What I want to do now is get the PacketTracer file that we're going to use. And we're in 1500 networking, and I think that's in resources. Is that a safe bet? There are a couple of them. PacketTracer 5.3.2, if you need it, there's a zip file. And what you can do is just unzip it to the root of C, and it'll create those folders, and you go into the binary file and start it. It's not actually installed on these machines. We just use it. So which one are we working on? The Media Lab, maybe?
Media Lab.
Okay, so we have a media.pka file. PKIA file is the type of file that PacketTracer uses. So if I right-click on this thing, save target as, and wait for it to wake up, I don't really want to go into downloads. Put them someplace where you can find them, which I probably won't do. I'll put it in the demo folder. How's that? So we'll save that, media.pka. Now I should be able to go back and in my, if my system ever gets done saving it, open. And then I was on the E drive, and where did I put it? In demo. Thank you. Media.pka. Open that file. And I have an infrastructure here. And this infrastructure also has these activities. You can just close this because in this class I don't have anything in the activity element. When you get to the Cisco, there are some instructions in there, and you can grade the labs as you go along, and it'll tell you what you haven't done so that you can go back and redo things. So in this one says, connect devices with the correct cable. You'll get the cable down here with a little lightning bolt. So if we click on it, we go over here, we have automatically choose connection type. Figured you'd do that, so I turned that off. Can't do an automatic connection type. So you will go over here and we can pick, and this one would be a serial cable, which doesn't really go on anything. We actually could. It's an RS-232 connection, which would go to the console port of one of these devices. Okay? What we're really wanting is the copper straight through and a copper crossover. Copper straight through, I would go to my PC, and I know that I connect to a switch, I connect straight through cable, right? And then I would connect a straight through cable. Now to connect my two switches, I'm going to use a crossover cable. And right, it doesn't really matter which port you use. The orange here is a term that they have added to Network Plus, spanning tree. What spanning tree is checking for right now to see if we've created a loop. And it takes about a minute, 55 seconds, in order for it to time out. So if we don't create a loop, we should be okay. And then I'll go back here and do the same thing, not the console, but the regular port. See, these are turning green up here. Spanning tree's done its thing, says okay. If you get red in these areas, red's usually not going to be very good. Red means that we have created a problem. Let's see. I can't do that because that's a fiber connection, and it just said I'm just stupid, and I knew that. So if I tried a straight through, switch to hub, and I get red, red should be an indicator that I've done something wrong. If I then want to get rid of something, go over here and click on the X, and then X out whatever you don't want. So that's what this lab is about. Once you get through, file, save as, and save it as a something another, and then you upload that file. Okay? The other one is going to have you, actually go ahead and do that one. I want you to get the other one if you have issues. Well, one other thing I need to show you about, and let me get the other, let me resume this. Let me hook all this thing up and show you, and then you can do it later. What we want to show here when we get done, you notice that the hub didn't have any spanning tree. It turned green immediately. Switches are the only ones that have spanning tree. And now you do need to hook this guy up because he's where we're going to get the IP addresses for our devices. Now let me see if I actually have IP addresses on these things. Desktop. My DHCP, I'm going to resume again. My DHCP request failed because, as Dustin said, I'm not hooked up. I didn't hook these guys up, did I? Switch to a hub is going to be a crossover cable. Once you get this thing hooked up, and let's see if I got some IP addresses down here. If you go to command prompt, ipconfig, and I have an IP address. What I want you to do after that is to, and this is real time, is if you look back here back behind real time is a little, I don't know, it just says simulation mode. I don't know what the symbol would be. If we click on it, it's going to bring this thing up. Edit filters, ARP, and ICMP should be on, and that's what I really want. What we're going to do is look at the devices, look as the packets go through the devices. And let's see if I can reset the simulation. What I'm going to do is take, I always get these wrong, the closed envelope, and click on PC0, and let's go to PC5. PC5 has no functional ports. I guess I don't have an IP address on it yet, which means that I don't have any functional ports. We can go from here to here, and then we'll get the functional ports. Once we have this thing set up, going from point A to point B, we should then be able to auto-play and capture. We're going to send it, and notice what happens. This is, see the little flame there? What happened? That means that we had a collision. Ethernet, we had a collision because you see the packet come down from the server at the same time. So let's try it one more time. Oh, capture forward. We can. Let's try. Okay, it's still going. What happens in, well, I'm playing one of those others. What happens in here, you notice that This one is, these have addresses now. This is pinging one of the locations over there, one of the ones that was already in it. The first time it goes through, the packets go out every port. Let's reset the simulation. What I want to do is go down here and delete these things. Delete each of these to make them go away because there's a whole bunch of them in here. So now let's see if we can do our own. Let's take our envelope and see if we can go from here to here. If we have a port now, it's got an IP address. Probably it's not going to work this time because we've already gone out of all of the ports once on this thing. It still will on the switch, on the hub, right? Autoplay. And we go out, we get up in here, and you can change the speed of this thing down here. Went out all of the ports, right? We get to the switch, it went out all of the ports. And these guys say it's not to me. And this guy says it's not to me. When he comes back, we should now know where we're going. It doesn't go out all the ports, because the MAC table's been updated. And it goes directly till we get to the hub. When we get to the hub, it should go out all the ports, right? Because a hub goes to everything. And what that's supposed to do, I want you to set that up. That demonstrates the hub switch differences, or at least I hope. If we wanted to look at the MAC table here, just for grins and giggles, I think it shows MAC table. And it's not. MAC address table. The cool thing about Cisco is it will help you out. What I did was type show MA. I knew to start with MAC question mark. Show MAC address table. So the MAC address table tells me on FA01 dynamic which MAC addresses are available. And on some of these, we're obviously going to have more because this port here that goes to the hub is going to have all the MAC addresses that are on that hub available on it. So as you go through this thing, do that, and then the buffer gets full, you just have to go and reset the simulation and restart it. Clear the current events list, and then you can go do it again. If your MAC table gets full, you need to delete all of the entry. We'll resume this. We can clear the MAC address table. Let me go back and do the whole command. Clear MAC, and I can use the tab key to complete these things. And then show MAC address table. I don't have anything. It will go through all the process of flooding it out of the switch and then recording the entries again. And then once we get there, we would have the MAC table, which would then allow us, and this one's already set up here, so I can go ahead and play it again, or I can come down here and delete it. And if I wanted to go to two different places, if I wanted to go, let's say from here to here, I can do that and then play the system, go to the hub, should go out all the ports, including the one that we need. Get to the switch, the first time through should be flooded out all of the ports. And it is. To the new switch should be flooded out of all of the ports. And it is. And then when it comes back, it should go directly back to the hub. And once it gets to the hub, it's going to go out all of the ports. Does that make sense? Does it make it a little easier for what you're supposed to do with PacketTracer now? PacketTracer is a very flexible piece of software. It's a great piece of software. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. That takes care of the PacketTracer overview. If you want to add devices, I did that, and then I keep talking. Down here we got routers, switches, hubs, and if you look at the devices, wireless devices, and then the media for the media lab. These are the ones you hook up. The ones over here, the little red ones, are, and the ones, the little I don't know what you call it, squigglies over here actually are the serial port connections when you use serial ports on routers. So that does take care of the packet tracer overview.